I got one idea that I'm especially psyched out of my mind about. You know, it's one of those ideas where you're just like, yes!
Dave? Dave Flynn?
On the radio!
Hold on to your butts.
Hey there, welcome to Dave Flynn on the radio, the #1 blogcast on the internet. I'm Dave Flynn, and since reading is hard, I'm going to do it for you. Today we're talking about the machine, big business, and the relationship people have with their employers. This episode is going to help you see who holds the power in these employer-employee relationships and how that dynamic impacts even the most wealthy. How those concepts extend far beyond just financial rewards. And to do that, we are going to lean on the wisdom of Wayne and Garth from Wayne's World, and also billionaires Elon Musk and Larry Ellison. Love them or hate them. And last but not least, we'll look at my old company in the world of consulting. You can find more stories and essays like this at winwithflynn.com. But if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's jump into the show. How they keep you. Part 1. Strings attached. If you can't walk away, you don't have a job has you. Packy McCormick flipped it, saying, if you pay an employee $270,000 a year, you own the employee. If you pay an employee $2.7 billion, the employee owns you. He was referring to the huge sums being offered top AI talent and what those pay packages say about who's wearing the pants in the relationship. But the thing about getting paid billions, there are typically a few strings attached. The logic applies even at the tippity top of the employment ladder. Tesla shareholders recently approved an incentive-laden pay package for CEO Elon Musk, but cashing it in will not be easy. Over the next decade, he'll need to sell 20 million vehicles, operate 1 million robotaxis, and earn $400 billion in core profit. Tesla's stock value will need to climb from $1.5 trillion to $8.5 trillion. Each milestone earning him 1% of the company. Hit them all, and he gets 12%, about $878 billion. But why did Musk want a package like this? Because even he isn't free from the strings of manipulation. He just gets wired up with a bit more gusto. For the world's richest man, the money is beside the point. What he actually wants? Control. He wants to make sure he owns the company instead of the company owning him. Unfortunately for Musk, owning more of Tesla won't release him. If anything, it's going to tie him to the mast. And if Musk can't leave, oh well, keeping you should be no problem at all. You can't walk away, not quite yet. You've got bills to pay. You've got kids in school. What are we going to do about the insurance? But when faced with the idea that your job has you, the pushback is nearly instantaneous. People don't want to believe it. But as Sam Harris says, a puppet is free as long as he loves his strings. Do you love yours? It's easier if you just say yes. Easier for them and for you. Most don't even realize they've been bound. They've learned to love the rope. The question isn't whether you have strings, we've all got a few. It's whether you can evaluate who or what is holding them. Value elasticity. Value elasticity is the ability to reassess what something is worth when the environment changes around you. That sports car was pretty hot when you first got out of school, but with 3 kids and a baby on the way, a Suburban might be the more valuable choice. You see this pattern everywhere. Medicine, law, academia. Someone goes in with elastic values, curiosity, purpose, the desire to do meaningful work. Shoot, even the cash can be elastic while it serves you. But 10 years later, those same values have hardened into debt, identity, reputation, sunk cost. At that point, reevaluating feels impossible. That's how fast elasticity becomes rigidity. Without elasticity, you get stuck on one track with one master. You keep striving for things you valued years ago, letting a younger, less wise version of yourself take the wheel, chasing goals absorbed from parents, teachers, and Little League coaches. A version of you that didn't understand the corner office is easily trumped by no office at all. The currency to keep you? Well, money is just the entry point. Status asks who's up and who's down. Affiliation asks who's in and who's out. But the trap is always the same. They tie themselves into your identity. Why do billionaires work? What would you do if money were no object? Well, for a billionaire, money is no object. So before we outlaw them completely, maybe we can check in and see if there's anything to learn. Larry Ellison does not work for money. He's been a billionaire for decades. He works for something harder to satisfy. It's called ego. I don't give a shit about profits, he once said. I want to beat Sybase. That was early in Oracle's history. Sybase is long gone, but the psychology never changed, just the target. For years, it's been Microsoft. The only software company we worry about, watch, or try to learn from is Microsoft, he admitted. But he couldn't leave it there. He went on, they are the world's experts at bundling. Translation, they don't win on technology, they win on deals. That is mostly true. He dismissed their desktop dominance, convinced Oracle owned the server future, except Microsoft became a cloud company. Now, in his 80s, Ellison is making massive leveraged bets on AI infrastructure and data center. Why? Because his coin isn't cash. It's proving he's not second best. Look at any billionaire close enough and you'll see it. They've just traded one leash for another. Viktor Frankl wrote, "Man is pushed by drives and pulled by values." Even with all the money and power they could ever imagine, these billionaires, they're still getting pushed around. They've got all the money in the world and still can't revalue what matters. That's value rigidity at its most expensive. Coin-operated culture. My old CEO used to say the sales team was coin-operated, and I will go on the record and say I hated it. What he meant was that he was coin-operated, and he was building the company in his image. Management becomes easy when people are coin-operated. Dangle the carrot, the accolades, the incentive trip, and watch everyone spring into motion. During interviews, if somebody said they wanted to help people, it was a hard pass. Help people? Can you imagine that? Interviewing somebody who has the most lasting of all intrinsic motivators and passing on them. And who did we hire instead? Some blockhead. Someone who spent their formative years fishing watch batteries out of their nose. But Blair sure can tie a knot. Someone with a pile of debt, cars, and school was always a good pick. The cage was already in place. But the majority were wanters, desirers. That's a made-up word. But it's the people that had a hole in themselves so large that no amount of earning or spending could fill it. Those are the types that will get out and hustle. And there were some real despicable folks too. We were about making that money. We wanted more of the same, more people with the same motivation. We called it culture fit. And that makes the ship much easier to steer. But people who are purely money motivated eventually burn out. You can only fill the coffers so high. Money, ironically enough, is the cheapest fuel of them all. Eventually, you'll graduate to other things. Trade one currency for another. It becomes a part of you. In Wayne's World, Benjamin asks Garth what he thinks of their new studio. "It's like a new pair of underwear," Garth replies. "At first, it's constrictive, but after a while, it becomes a part of you." That pretty much covers it. Wayne and Garth are getting the payday they'd always wanted. The dream was to make Wayne's World for a living, but it came with baggage. Because a job isn't just a source of money, it's a framework for your identity. I am the title, I am the team, I am the quota, the promotion. I am my job. I see it all over town. Microsofties proclaiming they are part of the Azure Quantum Synergy Optimization Task Force Spring Cohort. Amazonians proudly wearing their Project Nimbus Cloud Alignment Phase 3B. And don't get me started on Facebook. That crew always huddled up in their Operation Synergistic Kernel Deployment Delta Force hoodies. Nothing says a project is extremely important and tinted, quite like going over the Kanban board while waiting for your Starbucks Nitro with extra protein cold foam. Okay, that paragraph was a little over the top. But even when the work loses its luster, those strings, they hold quietly and invisibly. Sure, you could leave, but to where? You've never taken the time to investigate. Your attention is occupied, just how they want it. The most effective prison, it doesn't need guards. It just needs those routines. There we have it. That's the pod. Thank you for listening. If you like what you hear, please share it with a friend. Give it a thumbs up. And if you've got a few extra seconds, give it a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify or wherever you are listening. The engagement will make you feel so good, and it'll help other people find the show. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
All right, there you go, America. I love you. I'm proud of you. I mean it. We gotta go. This is great.